Alright, welcome back to the Crucible Brothers. My name is Lionhearts, and today we're going to be giving our first impressions on Solstice of Heroes 2022, what you need to know, whether you should be grinding or not, and a little bit of a look at the update in general, the Sandbox changes, just kind of a rough first impressions of how Destiny is looking post-update. The quick and dirty, for those of you who do not watch the entire video, is Solstice of Heroes very much this year is about armor farming. There are a new hand cannon as well as the returning Compass Rose shotgun, but really the goal of this event is to farm optimized stat armor for your builds. And this farming is valuable for both new and returning players, even returning players who are more familiar with harder endgame content like master difficulty dungeons and raids. You're still going to want to do this because this is the first time we have somewhat control over where our stats are distributed on these armor pieces, which makes optimizing builds way easier than it's ever been. And obviously for new players, this is an extremely simple, straightforward way to get high stat armor and start getting towards your end game build crafting. So this event is valuable to everybody and you should dive in regardless. So that's the short of it. Log on, go see Grandma in the tower, start grinding your activities and your challenges, and you will get insane value out of it throughout the duration of this event. Before we get too much further into this discussion though, make sure you guys take a second, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. All those things help us out in the YouTube algorithm. We are right there. 6,000 subscribers is right around the corner. Once we're there, it's speed running straight to 10K, baby. So help us run up those numbers, and let's get back into the video. So besides the insane armor farm, Solstice has brought with it a new 120 RPM Stasis hand cannon called Something New. And Something New is definitely interesting and worth your time if you're into kind of some of the more niche builds in Destiny. The main appeal of this weapon is the fact that it is the only 120 RPM hand cannon in the game with access to Harmony, and in Crucible, Harmony does allow you to 2-tap 6 resilience and below, and that is very valuable as 2-tapping 120 hand cannons is insanely fast. Now, I'm not gonna lie here, I'm definitely not the first person to point this out. Cami Cakes, I think, is dead on here. The best build for this hand cannon is to build into its airborne effectiveness, as it is the highest base airborne effectiveness for 120 hand cannons. So you're gonna want to go with like fluted barrel, arrowhead. You're going to go with extended mags, ensemble, and harmony. Now, ensemble is kind of a weird pick, but trust me, you're going to be team shotting a lot. Being around teammates is just the default state of the game, and when you're around teammates, you get 30 handling and 40 reload. And that fixes the two worst stats on the hand cannon. So go ensemble, trust me. And then run like a fusion rifle or a sniper rifle or a competent secondary weapon you know you can get kills with. You get the kill with your secondary weapon, you hot swap to the hand cannon, and you deal out that sweet justice with those 2-taps. Now, we can't mention this hand cannon much further without mentioning some bugs. This hand cannon comes with a unique origin trait, same thing as the Compass Rose, called Dreamwork. And this origin trait is currently broken, as it allows you to overflow other weapons in your inventory beyond their maximum magazine capacity, leading to hilarious things like the 20th Horseman having all 20 bullets in the mag, or Merciless getting to relive the glory days of infinite Lunafaction boots, or the Fighting Lion, but it never ends. It's an infinite mag Fighting Lion. As of right now, when you're watching this video, we have no word from Bungie on whether they're going to disable these weapons because of this glitch or not. I have a feeling they're just going to let it ride out, because while it's funny, it's not necessarily super game-breaking, and I don't think Bungie wants to take the PR hit from disabling the two main attractions of the event, which are the two weapons. The other featured weapon in this event, the Compass Rose, is back, reprised with some new perks, and honestly, it's got a lot of good perks going for it. Incandescent's now here, and with the PvE buff to shotguns in this update, it might be interesting in that realm. Other than that, you got the classic beats here. You have your Surplus, Quick Draw, Snapshot, Vorpal Weapon, Trench Barrel. You now have access to Fragile Focus, which could be interesting. A lot of good stuff going on here for PvP. Unfortunately, precision frame shotguns are just the worst pellet shotgun frame, and that definitely holds this bad boy back. The one thing I'm very interested to try though on the Compass Rose is one with Adagio. Adagio definitely seems interesting because if it can push the one-shot range, it might be worth investing in. Run that with Surplus, max range, bada bing, bada boom. I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for that. Alright, so Solstice, good. Weapons, okay. Event armor, pretty sick. So there's a lot of good stuff to go on here, but we're a PvP channel, right? We're here about the Crucible, so let's talk about the Sandbox update and the current status of the game, at least upon initial impression. So the cliff notes of what was changed in the Sandbox here: airborne effectiveness was universally buffed on all weapon archetypes, so airborne effectiveness across the board should feel a lot better. On top of that, Air Assault as a perk was buffed, and Extended Mag and Steady Rounds were both given a +10 and +7 airborne effectiveness stat, respectively. Straight up, really good changes. I like that they're adding some incentive to some of these underrated magazine archetypes. For a long time, the game has revolved around accurized, high caliber, and ricochet rounds, but now, honestly, for 10 airborne, that's almost an Icarus grip on its own. I would definitely consider Extended Mag in a lot of cases, or even Steady Rounds. This is an awesome change in terms of how we perk out weapons. Beyond that, we get to the meat of this update, and that is the weapon archetype changes. Hand cannons, the 180 RPM precision hand cannons got their damage buffed. Crits are now at 60, body shots at 40. This allows you to 2 crit 2 body by default, and makes all damage boosts more valuable on 180 hand cannons. 450 RPM auto rifles received a small body shot damage buff to help some of their damage ranges, which is really nice. And the big one for me, scout rifles, precision 180s and high impact 150s are now feeling so much better with their crit and body shot damage buffs in this update. This has moved 180 scouts into that 2 crit 2 body threshold, and makes high impact scouts by default 2 crit 1 body on 189 HP or lower guardians, and made body shot cleanups a lot less punishing than they were previously. Flat out, scout rifles actually feel really good now. Both 150s and 180s feel very good, very connective, and they abuse, and I do mean abuse, damage perks. We're going to be talking a lot about scout rifles in the coming days and videos because they actually have a spot in the game now. Other notable changes: Last Word nerfed, Gallahorn nerfed, Forerunner and Glaives ammo buffed, Lorentz Driver got an aim assist nerf, but also now no longer gets flinched as hard, which is kind of a mixed bag, let's be real. And that's about it for major Sandbox changes. A bunch of bug fixes, smaller adjustments. Go ahead and read the patch notes on your own time. But where does that leave us in terms of the feel of the game? Well, obviously, No Time to Explain is still a massive problem for scout rifles, but it finally feels like scout rifles have a seat at the table. Previously, the absolutely horrendous body shot damage made it so that scout rifles were overly punished for bad aim. And now, there's a little bit of wiggle room where you can miss one or two of your shots with a scout rifle and not feel dead in the dirt. 2 crit 1 body across the map, 60 plus meters with a 150 scout. Listen, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like Dead Man's Tale. That kind of forgiveness is really, really good. And as soon as you start adding damage perks, you start using stuff like Polaris Lance, you use the straight up lethality and forgiveness of Jade Rabbit, it's feeling really good, man. I'm having so much fun with scout rifles. 180 hand cannons finally feel like they belong. They also abuse damage perks beautifully, and it kind of feels like you can make that trade-off where, oh, I'm going to run a 180 hand cannon, I'm going to be a little worse in my initial duel, but if I get that first kill, I'm going to run you over. And I love that trade-off. Just that little bit of forgiveness is sometimes all you need for these weapons to feel like they can actually compete. The best comparison I can give is to compare them to rapid-fire scout rifles. Rapid-fire scout rifles have that similar 1 second base time to kill. The difference between that and previous iterations of scout rifles and 180 hand cannons is that by default, rapid-fire scouts featured an enormous amount of forgiveness, which made getting the first kill really achievable, and then you could abuse your busted damage perks. And that's the exact change that Bungie has translated to these underperforming weapon archetypes, and it's amazing. Time will tell, and it's certainly a little bit of the honeymoon phase, but I do think scout rifles and 180 hand cannons now have a firm place in the game. On top of that, Forerunner now is much better. Forerunner actually gets so much ammo that it is legitimately one of the best special weapons in the game again. Glaives are going to be much more prevalent than they were previously. Don't sleep on glaives, especially if you've been burned by shotguns like I have. Other than that, I'm feeling good, man. We're like one adjustment to rapid fire or high impact pulses away from a very, very stable primary meta. I firmly believe that. Time will tell with the Last Word nerfs. I don't think Last Word's going anywhere, but oh man, they made the long range meta feel so much better in this update. Anyways, that is it for this quick little first impressions of the Solstice of Heroes update. Let me know how you guys are feeling about the state of the game in the comments down below. We have a lot of reviews queued up coming to you in the next few days, so keep an eye out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment as well. Honestly, guys, I know the Destiny Discourse has been pretty bad lately, but as per usual, sometimes they just make updates that give me that glimmer of hope. and this Sandbox adjustment has been feeling really good, so I'm feeling some optimism for the game again. Hopefully you guys are as well, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace!